Hello and welcome to this very special episode of Soap Scoop, the Inside Soap podcast. Now, as you can see, I am joined by the lovely Tina O'Brien, who plays Sarah Louise Platt in Coronation Street, also known as Theo's killer. We can finally say it, Tina. Oh my God. How does it feel?
It's been a really long wait. It's been interesting because obviously we started filming the flashback scenes, I think like 3 months ago. So it's been something that I've obviously known about for a very, very long time, and before that as well. So I've not enjoyed keeping it secret, if I'm honest. I found it really difficult, especially with the audience kind of trying to guess who it is. And I've genuinely in real life been trying to keep a low profile and not post anything that would give anything away. So yeah, it's nice that it's finally out there.
Can you talk me through the moment that you were first told and what your reaction was?
So, I was told in the green room by a few cast members that apparently Theo was going to be murdered, and everyone was being called in one at a time who was involved in the storyline. And so that was my first thing. But I didn't think I was going to be anything to do with it. I genuinely didn't. When I was told this, I was like, oh my God, it's going to be summer. So everyone, different people go for their meetings, and then they're going, well, it's not me. I've been told I'm not the murderer. So everyone's looking at everyone else. And then I was asked to see Kate, our producer, and she sat me down and she said, we've got this storyline coming up, and we really feel that the way things have been going with Theo, that we want him to leave, but we want there to be a real element of a whodunit, and it's going to be Sarah. It's just like, I was really shocked but really excited.
Yeah, I mean, we have to talk about the idea that there were so many people that could have done it. There was no shortage of people. But why Sarah? Was that kind of explained to you? I mean, she's got all the history with Todd, the backstory. What's your understanding of it?
I think, like you say, I think there's a lot of history there with Todd. And I think that in the moment that she was in, when she went up onto the scaffolding to try and find Todd and instead found Theo, I feel that she genuinely did fear for her life. And maybe with the backstory as well of being in a situation where Callum, attacked her, and I think she, in that situation, it was triggering, and she was like, I've got to survive this. And she felt it was him or her. And so, yeah, I think maybe that's the reason that they thought Sarah.
The thing that I think has been so clever about it is that I've gone back and I've watched the episode where Theo died, and you have to be watching so closely to realise that when Sarah comes back into the Platt house, she's visibly distressed, but for a blink and you'll miss it moment. And then, of course, Jodie whacks her, which is the perfect distraction. So when you filmed that, did you know it? Obviously you did know at that point, so you had to film this very quick distress.
Yes. So we'd already shot the stuff on the scaffolding, and we obviously knew how upset and overwhelmed Sarah would be. We also knew that Sarah had blood on her hands. So it was shot with the blood on her hands.
Oh.
But we had to be very, very careful about what was seen on screen. But it would have been a cheat to the audience to not have the full thing. So it's dark, so you can't actually see, but she is a little bit tear stained.
Yeah.
And she has got blood on her hands. And as she goes towards the box to look in it, her hands are sort of there, but yeah, she's got Theo's blood on her hands. So it was really, really difficult to film, but we had an amazing director, Surrey, because I said, if we're doing this, we've got to do it real. And he said, yeah, we'll do it real. And then we'll just try be wide enough or cut around it enough that the audience aren't going to tell straight away that it was Sarah. So, yeah.
I didn't notice the blood. So, I mean, obviously that's something that's been done really cleverly. But when you go back and watch it, you do see that she is distressed. And then, of course, I mean, the flashback scenes, which we'll have just watched in the dinner party episodes where we find out that it's Sarah. I mean, what was it like filming those?
Oh, wow. I mean, the dinner party was amazing fun to film because it was just a, great bunch of people. And we had a fantastic director called Dom, and he'd really done his homework and knew how he wanted it shot. So it was like we were doing a mini play, basically. So that felt really good. And then obviously it cut into all the stuff from the flashbacks, which we actually filmed, like I say, months ago, which were night shoots. So there is actually, it's really interesting because I posted something on Instagram not long ago and it said, join me on a Coronation Street night shoot. And it looks really nice and like, here I am, isn't it lovely? But actually, I'm dressed in my outfit to murder Theo, and it was the night shoots that was murdering Theo. So I also had to be really careful about what I posted as well. So yeah.
Amazing. And we've seen in the flashbacks as well, I mean, it was self-defense. Do you think Sarah would have gone through with calling the police or anything like that had Gary not come along and just done his best to help her out of it?
Yeah, I mean, the aftermath, I think obviously you'll see on screen that the following that, the way that the way that I felt when I was shooting it is I really did feel that it was self-defense. I think unfortunately because she didn't call the police and because they then try and do what they do to cover it up, she's put herself in a very, very difficult position, because if she gets found, if people realize that it's her, then is it going to wash that it was self-defense? And I think also as well, a lot of people are going to mistrust her, and she can say it was self-defense, but I think the people around her are kind of a bit like, well then why didn't you go to the police? So the aftermath, the fallout of it is actually, I think, as interesting, or if not more interesting than the original, well, who's done it? Now it's like, well, what the hell are they going to do now? So yeah, it's good. It's been so cleverly thought out by all the writers and the production team.
Yeah, I'll admit, when I found out that it was Sarah, immediately I was like, wow, that is a big twist, because to me, you're not a character that is expendable because you're Sarah Louise Platt. You've been part of the street for
Platt Mafia.
part of the street for such a long time, and with anyone that ends up being a killer, you wonder if there's going to be some justice or some punishment. Was that almost a worry for you? You think, oh god, I'm a killer now, what does this mean for Sarah's future?
I think, to be honest, because of the nature of our job, and we are jobbing actors at the end of the day, if that had been, if they said, look, this is what's happening and there's a possibility you'll go to prison and da da da, that's something that I think with the job that you do, you have to respect. And so I've just got to put my faith in the writers, and whether Sarah gets found guilty and she goes to prison, or she gets, she doesn't get found out at all, and it's something that never gets found, then it will be interesting to see. But I've just got to kind of hope that there's a juicy storylines going on the time up to that point that it'll make it all fun and worth it.
Definitely. And that, like you say, she might get away with it. I mean, Gary is no stranger to having bumped a few people off, and he's still on the street. So
Exactly.
and if anyone's going to help her, it must be him, which leads me to my next question. Here at Inside Soap, now more than ever, we are just convinced that Sarah and Gary are Endgame. Like, they have always had the best chemistry. I loved her with Adam, really enjoy her with Kit, but for something, there is just something between you and Mikey, that chemistry, that I just think, surely, and he's done so much to help her, is there romantic lingering there?
That's how I play it. I think for me, he got her. He really understood her, tried to save her life. He tried to protect her. He killed someone to protect her. I know that sounds quite psychopathic, but also at the same time, I think that they had a relationship that was so strong, and it's like they just understood each other like I don't know if anybody else has. And although they've both moved on, and I think he is very happy with Maria, and I think Sarah is very happy with it. I think there's something about when they're together that they just understand something about each other. Whether that means that they can be together or not, I don't know. Is there too much water under the bridge for them ever to get back together? Who knows?
Well, I kind of hope so, and that's no disrespect to Maria or Kit, because they're fabulous, but I just genuinely think that Sarah and Gary are meant to be, and that it does raise a question. Of course, now Sarah has killed someone and Kit is a detective, and even though he's a bit of a dodgy detective, that's going to be the ultimate test of their relationship, surely, if he was to get wind of this.
Without a shadow of a doubt. And I think obviously that's why she didn't call him that night. I think, she should have just called the police, but in panic, and she didn't, and she reached out to someone that she thought she could trust, and she chose Gary. But I think she's really internally struggling with what will happen if he finds out, because she does love him and she really wants the relationship to work. but she's also very aware that would he cover for her and should he have to? Because I think that's another thing. I think she's really struggling with a hell of a lot of guilt as well. With, if he knew it would compromise his job, it would compromise their relationship. And I think she's struggling with a lot of the fallout from it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I was going to ask you actually about the aftermath of immediately killing Theo. She obviously gets whacked over the head and then is in hospital. And then when she comes to the next day, she goes to she was one of the people that was with Todd. Did she remember immediately what had happened? Was there a bit of amnesia in there? Like, 'cause she deals with it all very well if she did.
I don't think there was amnesia, but I think there was absolute, I think weirdly, the bang on the head, not that it was a great thing to happen to her, but because it was so out of the blue after something so horrendous happening to her, it kind of, I think, gave her the ability to kind of compartmentalize what had gone on. She kind of went, that happened. I don't want to think about it. Let's just pretend I got hit over the head and it didn't happen. But I think what keeps happening is it keeps bubbling up and parts of what happened keep coming back to her. But I do think she's really trying to pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And also now that we think back, I said to you, like, oh, I went back and rewatched that episode of when she returned after what had happened with Theo. In the weeks that have gone by, have there been other clues that we might have missed? Is there anything that feels obvious to you? I mean, I know recently Sarah and Gary talking has raised people's suspicions, but
Every scene was so obvious to me that I felt like I shouldn't even be filming them. So that's really interesting if you don't think that, because I was like, everyone's going to know it's me. Everyone's going to be but I'm only reading my parts. So then, like, every time I look at Kit, I think, oh my God, I just look so guilty. Or if I'm asking him about, so what's going on with Todd, I think, oh my God, does he know it's me? Does he know it's me? So it's interesting to me. I definitely feel like it's obvious, but maybe to the audience, I don't know.
how do you think Todd's going to feel about it? Because, of course, she had his best interests at heart the whole time, but he was in this coercive relationship that he struggled to get out of for so long. And there must have been some residual feeling when Theo died. And that could be interesting dynamics for him and Sarah.
I think if Todd found out, I think it could really put a huge strain on their relationship. I think that, yeah, like you say, to do with Theo, and although Theo was horrendous to him and treated him so badly, he still loved and cared for him. There was a very mixed bag of emotions going on there. And I think the real problem that Todd could potentially have is Summer went to prison.
Yes.
And Sarah didn't come forward and say, it was me. Oh, so you're saying about, is there a moment? There's a scene and he says, Summer didn't do it. And Sarah goes, I know he did. I know she didn't.
Oh.
And for me, it's like really obvious because I'm saying, I know she didn't do it because I did it.
Yeah.
Whereas it could just look like, I believe you, I trust you, and I trust Summer. But actually, no, she says, I know she didn't.
Yeah, I think it's because Sarah, she's a very sincere person, isn't she? So everything she says in those moments, you believe. You don't think there's anything extra behind it. But I think certainly with her and Gary leading up to this reveal, I think maybe that's when people started to go, or maybe. And did you, like you said, you've been keeping a low profile, but had anyone guessed? Had anyone said to you they think it was you?
In the last couple of days, it's definitely picked up. Some people are now thinking it's Sarah. I think people are really now, I think all the way up to the point where Sarah and Gary started having more conversations. And I think obviously some people are thinking, well, is it Gary and Sarah's covering for him? But I think everyone's gone, actually, no, he's not covering for her. I know she's not covering for him, he's covering for her.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think by the time of the reveal, I think there's a bit of a split between people going, yeah, I knew it now. So I'm kind of glad that it will be out there so that.
You think, I mean, how much longer? I mean, the viewers obviously are going to know that it's Sarah, but it hasn't come out on screen. How much longer do you think she's can go on keeping up this pretense? And also, as well, thinking of Sarah's backstory, I mean, this is someone who once suffered with psychosis, certainly after everything that happened with Callum and things like that. Do you think she's got the mettle to hold her nerve, or eventually this is going to get to her?
I think she'd crack. I could be wrong, but I think she'd crack. I don't think she because of what happened with the psychosis. And I think that would really, I think the only thing that would make her keep going and keep quiet and try to just bury it is her son. She is so, and her daughter, you know, she's got Bethany and Harry, and she does not want to leave them. And she genuinely knows it was self-defense, but she's handled the aftermath so badly that she now thinks like, I have to put up and shut up. But whether she can long term, I'd be surprised.
We do obviously see characters go to prison and then navigate prison life. We've seen it with Gail and Deirdre, and you know, how do you think Sarah would cope in prison if we were to see her in prison?
I mean, I think she'd hate it. I mean, I think she'd really struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, you know, she can be feisty and she can hold her own, but against like tough women, I think she'd be in trouble, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I feel like I just wouldn't want to see her in there.
I don't want to see me in there either.
Not in that tabard or whatever it is they're going to put you in. Got to talk about Jodie, because of course she was the one that came along, whacked her, and then and almost, I suppose, gave Sarah a bit of cooling off from initially reacting from the murder. But certainly with what we're covering in the magazine, Sarah is on the verge of finding out potentially that Jodie hit her, and Sarah's already got her suspicions about Jodie. How does she feel about Jodie as a person and being in their lives?
I think she's really wary of Jodie anyway, just because there's occasionally really odd things that she says and does, and you kind of go, what are you on about? You know, like so the stuff with she heard Sarah on the phone to Gary, and she's like, oh, I know what's going on. And she's just like, you don't even know me. Just stay out of my business. I mean, actually, she did have a point. Jodie did have a point. Sarah was talking to Gary about something, but it was just more the way she sort of behaves that Sarah doesn't trust. I think she'd be very, very surprised that it is Jodie, and shocked. But I think with everything that's going on, I think she's got bigger fish to fry. I think she's so consumed by you know, the murder and basically knowing that she's responsible for somebody dying, which I think is what plays on her in her mind over and over again. So I think weirdly finding out about Jodie, I don't know, has she got the capacity to really go there with it?
Yeah, I know. She, it was almost like she hasn't got time for that. She's got to hold herself together. But in terms of the Platts as a whole, I mean, they're no strangers to covering up a murder with Callum and everything like that. So do you think if they find out about this, they will rally round Sarah and kind of give her all their support, but they've got their own stuff going on as well?
Yeah, I can't imagine that they'd ever turn the back on her. I think if she, you know, was caught or it got out or there was rumor that it was her, I think if she said to them the truth, I think they'd back her. I really do. I
Yeah.
think they'd understand that in that moment and in that time, she did feel that her life was very much in danger and it was self-defense. I think that David would probably give her the hardest time in the world saying, yeah, but why didn't you go to police? We're just like, what are you doing? Like, he would just be like, what were you thinking? What have you, why didn't you just call the police? Like, he would be the one to, and she'd be like, well, it's a bit late now, David. You know, so he wouldn't give her an easy time of it, but ultimately, I think they would support her.
And how does it feel for you now as well? I mean, you join a sort of long history of soap killers, whether that's on the street or other shows. Like, how does it feel to have this on your, I don't know, your CV?
Yeah, God, you know what? I didn't even think of it. I think because I've been so consumed with trying to cover it up, I've not really sort of been thinking that Sarah's the murderer. But I feel very honoured to join the list, and I feel very lucky to have been able to uh, play a part in the storyline. And I've really enjoyed it. I found it really difficult because I feel like my face is constantly giving me away. So it's just been a bit of a boop boop, you know, because it's like Sarah looks guilty, but I'm like, but I can't look too guilty. But if I don't look guilty enough, I'm just like, oh my God. But it's been really, really good to do. And obviously I'm not allowed to talk about it, but the actual aftermath for me has been the best couple of months of filming as well. So I'm really looking forward for that to all come out on screen soon.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I know you can't tell me, but you must know the trajectory of it. And are there lots and twists and turns? Can you tease us with what we've got to come?
I think that it's all the stuff like you say with, will Kit find out? How will Kit handle it? will Todd find out? How will Todd handle it? Is DC Swain, is she gonna clock onto Sarah? Is she gonna, there's so many little things and how they all cope afterwards. And so, yeah, it's going to be really interesting.
It's one thing just kind of getting through day to day, but when she's faced with Lisa, who is, quite a formidable detective.
Oh my God. Barely blinks, just is like looking at her. I think Sarah feels physically sick. I mean, like, probably sweat is rolling down her back, but she's trying to remain this kind of like, everything's fine, everything's fine. Like, she doesn't want to crack and she doesn't want to give anything away.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm desperate to know how it's going to play out for you because, like I say, I mean, I'm assuming at some point it's going to come out, but equally, we want Sarah to stay on the street and carry on bringing brilliant fashion to Underworld. I mean, it's been brilliant. I mean, certain. I mean, you've been with the show on and off now for what is it? It's got to be like over 20 years, isn't it?
Yeah, what is it? 16, 26, 36. On and off for 26 years.
Wow, 26 years. So like that's like, almost half your life on.
More than, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is Corrie still as special to you now as it was back in the day?
Yeah, it really is. If anything, more so. I think with age, you also sometimes gain a bit more like wisdom and understanding, when something's good and you're happy. I really love the people I work with. It's there's genuinely such a great vibe, in the green room where we all work. And, I work with the Platts and I love that bunch of people. I've got they're friends as well as fake but family. So I feel very, very lucky.
Yeah, I do definitely get real family vibes off of all of you. You can see that on screen. Look, like the chemistry of the Platts has never dropped at all, I think. And I think when Helen left, people thought, well, this is a huge moment, Gail's going. But for me, I never worried because I knew that you had like the brilliance of you and Jack and Ben, just like very different personalities, but so great at like just keeping that energy up. So it's
I think because we've worked together for so long, I think we have a shorthand, and I think we feel so comfortable in our own skin that we're not trying to, Jack's not going to try and be more like me. You wouldn't want to. I'm not going to be trying to want to be more like him. We're just very different characters, but we all can come together, and I think we all bring something really different. So yeah, as a whole family, and Julia and Lucy that play Bethany, and too many names for Shona. That I'm like so lucky to have that group of people that I work with. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and the brilliant Sue Nichols as well.
Yes. Yeah, she's amazing. She
Just
is.
fabulous.
Makes us laugh.
Maybe Sarah can just go and hide out at Grasmere Drive for a bit, and it'll all blow over.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Thank you so much, lovely Tina, for joining us here at Inside. So it's been lovely to talk to you and react to this huge moment, and we can't wait to see where the story goes. I just hope and pray that there is somehow a future for Sarah on the street, and we'll see how she navigates that. But in the meantime, just enjoy the reaction to this twist. It's been great.
Thank you so much. It's been lovely to talk to you.
You too. We'll speak to you soon.
Bye.